This episode of Health Vibes is brought to you by the brand you trust the most, Jolly's Pharmacy Limited, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website www.jollies.dm. It's your time to jump the line. Shop now at jollies.dm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Jollies.dm features rush delivery 1 hour, in-store pickup, regular delivery 5 p.m. Cut-off time 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. Visit us at www.jollies.dm. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Jolly's Pharmacy presents a new and innovative radio program, Health Vibes. Health Vibes. Every Wednesday morning on Q95 FM. Health Vibes, hosted by Carlton Lando and Pearl Fontaine Butler. Health Vibes from 10:15 to 11 a.m. It's not just your average talk show. It's appealing and educational with a bit of humor. Real vibes on your health. Now, that's the vibe. Health Vibes on Q95. Every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11 a.m. with Pearl and Carlton. Tune in.
Welcome to Health Vibes, Dominica's most foremost program on health, medicine, nutrition, and wellness, featuring the latest news on conventional and alternative medicine and healthcare. Now, here's your host, Carlton Lando, and co-host, Pearl Fontaine Butler.
Good morning to you, Dominica. I am back.
Yes, he is.
I truly missed you guys. It's really a pleasure to be back connecting with you on your favorite health talk show on Wednesday morning, Health Vibes. I had a good and relaxing vacation, Pearl. It's good to be back at work. Sometimes yesterday I was having difficulty remembering my password.
Oh my goodness.
To start work.
so the vacation was so great that you just kind of cleared the mind of everything.
So I'm really happy to be connecting with you again. And as we go along today in the show, we will talk a little about the awards and what it means for me and for Jollies, and some new talk in reference to pharmacy practice within the Caribbean, the way forward, and we anticipate your calls and so forth, and anything that you want to share with us during the course of the show today. Pearl, as usual, I truly missed you.
I missed you as well, Carlton. I really did. I mean, our listeners know that, because every week I was like, I miss Carlton this week, but it's such a pleasure to have you back, and it's such a pleasure to be here. So good morning to Dominica. Good morning to our listeners. One of the things, I saw a friend last week, and she said, Pearl, my mother will not stop calling me up, giving me tips and tricks and all kinds of information from listening to your show. She said she's driving me crazy.
This is good. This is good.
So we've gotten some great reviews.
The reviews have been really good. Really good.
All positive, and we just want to thank everybody who tunes in, who listens to us, who takes notes, who calls up, who asks the relevant questions. And today, as any day is an open line. It's your show. You can call up, ask as many questions as you like. Carlton is here. He's back. He's ready to answer all of your questions. Any questions that you may have had over the past 3 weeks, you can call up, ask us today. This is your show today.
This is your show today. And we love the opportunity to open the lines and just give you, without a specific topic, just give you that opportunity to maybe make a comment, an observation. You may have some new information relating to health that you may want to share with us.
That's right.
That we don't know about. I mean, feel free to do so as well. I mean, there's so much information that's coming out, every other day on health matters.
And while we're here, I do want to take the time to just thank God for sparing us with this rain and the storm that was headed our way. And I mean, I woke up this morning saying, wait a minute, I heard not a single drop of rain last night. Thank God for that. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was, we often talk about obesity and your body mass index, obesity in children. And while doing some research, I found an interesting topic, a different approach though that parents can take. So instead of us saying you need to eat better, or you're too big, that kind of thing, we really need to kind of help our children promote a healthy body image. And so instead of us saying you're too big, or you're eating too much, we need to help them. We need to provide the healthier foods. So a report from the American Academy of Pediatrics says adults should move away from the weight talk and instead teach children to have a healthy relationship with food and their bodies. And in addition to that, you help them make wiser food choices and also provide healthier options for our children. And I thought that was such an interesting topic and an interesting approach to how we can get children to lose weight, but in a healthy way, Carlton, because oftentimes if they go on a diet or a detox, sometimes for children specifically, they may lose so much weight so quickly that it causes other complications, anorexia, all different kinds of things. So we want to make sure that while we're not hurting their body image and the way they feel about themselves, that we're helping them make healthier choices. And so when they grow up and they become adults, they continue with that line of choices.
I actually like this article. I think what it cements to us is that householders, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, big brothers, big sisters, we need to translate the relevant information to our children. So you've made a meal and you've made a soup and you've put pumpkin and cabbage and carrots and some meat and peas, and that child may not necessarily like soup so much. How do you now give the reason for all of these different foods in there? What is the benefit it's going to have for the body? So sometimes it's good to translate what you've cooked in terms of its benefits. So yes, they have functions as to what they do in the body. So you know that there is pumpkin. Pumpkin is very rich in vitamins B2, which is riboflavin. And this is very, very good for pigmentation, for your skin. It's very, rich in this. And this is so a child who, they're rough and tumble, they may have bruises and cuts and, much easier than the pumpkin is going to help to heal your sores. So sometimes when children hear those things, then they will be enticed to eat more pumpkin. So just saying, eat it, it's good for you, that's not enough. You really need to translate what benefit is the peas and the beans going to have, which is legumes, very rich source of protein. Children require more meats than adults. So it's how do we understand the food groups that we use and that should be on our table, and how do we translate the information that we have about those food groups to our children to make them understand what they're eating and why they need to eat what you've prepared.
I like the point that you make, because even for myself as a mother of a 5-year-old, oftentimes it's, with simple things, it's easier to say, stop that, don't do that.
Yes.
But I found that when I explained to him why he shouldn't do something, the chances are that he probably won't do it again because he understands why. And it's really all about communication. And this is what you're saying.
Definitely.
That we should communicate. But as parents, we also have to have the understanding of the different food groups, why they're important, why we shouldn't eat fast food or a lot of sweets or a lot of sugars. We have to have that kind of understanding. And I'm so grateful and thankful for Health Vibes, because we often teach these kinds of things, why this food is important, why this is important, why it's not, stay away from this, what less sleep could do for you, so I am definitely grateful for this. For this
so it's like, for
Vibes.
example, you may have a child and you would have cooked rice and peas and chicken and vegetables, and the child says to you, Mom, just give me rice and give me the chicken, leave out the peas, leave out the, and then that child will still say, go behind your back and still add butter into the rice and mix it up. Now that child would have basically received fats and oils, carbohydrates, which converts to sugar, and the meats, which is still fats and oils and a bit of protein.
Right.
And that in itself will increase weight gain.
Well, you know what? You just described two of my older boys. One will say, "I just want rice and chicken and no salad, no nothing." But I often say, "No. In order for you to be healthy, you need to have everything. Everything that I've cooked today, you're going to eat it." And he gives a little resistance, but he eats it. The other one will go and put maybe ketchup and all different kinds of condiments on his food to try to spice it up a bit more. So you've just described two of my older boys, which is so funny, But we often try to teach them what's healthy and what's not healthy so that they can make healthier choices. And, how about not eating? I mean, we last week we spoke about getting ready for school, preparing for school. Our children should be getting ready for bed at 8 o'clock, not eating at 8 o'clock.
That's true.
And that's something that we didn't touch on last week. But it's so important, because what then tends to happen is our bodies are working. They're not resting.
That's it.
They're working to break down these foods and these nutrients.
That's very true.
They're not sleeping. They're not getting adequate deep sleep, which gives us the rest that our bodies need. So you find that it's hard for our children to wake up in the morning. They become sluggish, this kind of stuff. We need to be eating the last meal no later than 6 o'clock.
That's true. And that's where the communication definitely needs to, sitting at the table and really conversing on some of those, you have a child who may not understand the benefits of what you've cooked. You really need to translate that information. And that's why sometimes it's important to just Google things too when you have a spare time. Good morning, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Carlton. Welcome back. Welcome back home.
Thank you, my friend.
Miss Fountain, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And I listened to you guys, and you guys, especially what you said, Miss Fountain, the educational aspect of the whole thing, talking to people as to, not just saying, don't do this or do that, but say, explain why you shouldn't do this or why you shouldn't do that. That gives you a clearer understanding as to why you're being instructed.
Yes.
And I'm on the last side, right? I'm a big guy. And I've been struggling to lose weight and do everything like that. And I finally, on my birthday, went to a nutritionist. And you would hear people talking about, oh, you eat too much. And I stopped eating. And the nutritionist told me, you know what, you're not eating enough.
Yeah.
That is your problem. You are not eating enough. And when you do eat, you eat too much at the time that you eat. I just used to have a little breakfast and go to work for the entire day. And when I go home at 4, 5 o'clock, she told me, you're eating when your body already needs the food. And, and the people used to tell me, don't eat, and stay away from the food. They never explain why, how to do it,
Right. So not only did you struggle with eating, but you also didn't have a healthy body image.
That's true.
Because you just completely stopped eating, right?
Exactly, and I co-host a program on DBS Radio every Saturday morning with Alex Bruno and Kimara Ito as our host. And we had a young lady on there, Miss Castle, Alma Castle of Dominica. She's a nutritionist and a flight attendant. And after the program, I spoke to this young lady, and what I learned from this young lady, it was amazing. She said, she told me the two of the main attributes in the main thing that either make you gain weight or lose weight is your protein and your carbs.
Yes.
This is what controls whether you gain or lose weight. And a lot of people spend all the time eating vegetables, fruits. And she said me it's good to eat those things, but you have to limit because especially fruit have sugar, and this kind of stuff like that. And she also explained to me that the veggies, they're very low in protein and carbs. They don't really provide all the nutrients that your body needs to for a daily function. And so it's so important that people educate people, not just instruct, but educate you, tell you exactly the reasons why you should do this, why you shouldn't do that, And it's going to be so much more beneficial to us as human beings, So once again, Carlton, I always like, as I tell you before, that your product, one of your products, I have my children of 14 years now and they use it every day. And I just want you to continue doing what you're doing. And that program that you have is so educational. I learned so much from listening to you guys, you know.
Thank you.
Every aspect of health, you know.
Thank
Whether
you very
it's it's how man should behave or man shouldn't behave, what you should be expecting. So even if I do not call, but I listen.
Thank you very much.
When you listen, you learn.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, man. And I want to urge you people that are listening to me right now. We are having a second segment of Miss Castle on DBS Radio on Saturday morning, and she has a lot of health information to give out. I would urge you to listen, because you never know what you can hear. Don't ever think that you know too much. You know everything. You know everything. You never know everything. You're never too old to learn, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what time is she on?
She's on at we're going to be on at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Thank
you, caller.
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
That.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
But it's callers like that we that we really do appreciate. And as you can hear his story, he just stopped eating, and this is what this article is basically stating today, that we need to be careful with what we say to our children.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Morning to you, sir. How are you?
No, I'm trying under the circumstances.
All right.
Yeah, well, it's a welcome back to me too, because I hadn't listened to the program for months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I heard a gentleman on your program. I think it was while I was at work for those months. You know, I tried to listen at some point. Talk about the pumpkin seed oil he using and what it did for him. And I went to, not advertising for any store, went to a store, and I got pumpkin seeds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it did the exact same thing for me. So I eat a portion, there's about a teaspoon in the late afternoon, evening, and does the same thing for me, you know. Don't have to wake up too many times in the night to go to the
washroom.
Well, I don't go to the washroom. I have a urinal under my bed. So I don't have to use it, do not have to use it that much, you know. So it is doing the same thing for me, so I'm going to be continue buying the pumpkin seeds at that establishment.
Yes.
Make sure I get the benefits of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm glad.
You're
glad.
welcome.
Thank you.
And this is actually the purpose of Health Vibes.
Yes.
For people who don't always come into the pharmacy, Health Vibes is a tool to disseminate information, so you don't have to. You can stay in your home and hear the relevant information.
That's important.
The discussions of pharmacists, you know, things that are happening in and around the medical field, wellness, alternative medicine field. So, you know, this is great to hear.
And I mean, that is the core of health promotion and education, and it's really to transform lives. It's really to challenge us to be the better version of ourselves. It's a way of improving our own general lifestyle practices, and to do our own self-audit as to what is working for us, what we need to not, maybe, you know, what's not working for us, and what we've been doing that's really of no added benefit to us, that would somehow enhance our life. As I'm on this note too, Caribbean Wellness Month is coming up shortly, and Pearl, I don't know if you are aware that the emphasis this year is going to be on tobacco smoking in young adults. You know, and it's a very interesting area of concentration this time around, because we all know, and I know you've been extremely passionate as to, you know, the way that our young people are living their lives and the things that they do. You'd recognize more and more of our young men are smoking, whether it's marijuana or tobacco, and it's like the coolest thing to many of them. They think it's like a normal thing. They think it's cool. And the statistics are showing more and more, the evidence is showing more and more how dangerous smoking is to the body, and how there's so many carcinogenic ingredients in one, you know, particularly in tobacco, that can definitely cause and compromise your general health, not just in terms of your respiratory health, but in terms of your mental health as well, your oral health, all different parts of your body, you know. And when you talk about oral health, it will also affect your gastrointestinal system, because your gastrointestinal system begins in the mouth, okay, and ends in the rectum. So when you put the more you smoke, then it will and it can impact your gastrointestinal system as well, as much as your respiratory system. So it's a very interesting area of concentration this year.
It definitely is. And I mean, people should think of it this way. Secondhand smoke, whether you're burning rubbish, whether you're around somebody who smokes, is detrimental to your health. So actually smoking a cigarette or marijuana, whatever it is not going to do you any good either. It's actually worse than secondhand smoke. And I just don't understand. I think when you know better, you do better. And if you're concerned about your well-being, I read something yesterday that talked about your health being your responsibility. It's nobody else's responsibility. Your life is your responsibility. Parents have to guide and raise children in the right way to make those healthy choices. Sometimes children take their own path, which is understandable, because every day, even as adults, we're faced with choices, whether good or bad, good and evil. And we have to battle every single day, whether in our minds, for the sake of our bodies, the decisions we make, where our careers are concerned, our families are concerned. We're battling these things every day. But there has to come a point where we say, you know what, this is my life and I need to take responsibility for it. I cannot throw it away. It's a gift. How can I just throw it away?
Because we've had some concerns. I was at a meeting before I went on vacation with the Ministry of Health in preparation for Caribbean Wellness Month, which is in September. And I mean, one of the information that came from an official of the Dominican Social Security was that what they have seen a huge spike of absenteeism and sick leaves after long holiday breaks among young people.
But of course,
when they look at the age demographics, it's the average 18 to 32. Most of these people would just not come to work. They're sick. They've drunk so much or that type of thing, and they get sick leave. And that's really, I was like, wow, I was shocked.
It's not surprising to me, because when you see the way our young people behave when there's a holiday or a fete or something, you can very well imagine that they will not show up to work the next day.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Try calling us back. And so for those of you who are wondering about Zika, we haven't really spoken about Zika that much. The federal health officials are urging pregnant women in Miami to avoid, and pregnant women period, to avoid travel to Miami. But we'll continue with this because we do have a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing good.
Well.
Yeah, I've just tuned in and listened to your topic. What is your topic today?
We have an open line, sir, so you can pitch in anything that you want to today.
All right. The question is about smoking.
Yes, sir.
I don't smoke cigarettes, but I keep far away from persons who smoke.
Secondary smoke.
This second-hand smoke is dangerous. I learned that. It's very dangerous. For anybody, you're not smoking and you inhale this, it's going to affect your health.
Yes.
How about when you're burning bushes and so on? Is this good for your health? Either when you inhale this smoke, burning wood and so on? Can you tell me?
Well, you have to remember the process of combustion, the whole process of burning, you have inert active ingredients in some of those chemicals, whether it's plastic, whether it's some container that may have contain some type of chemical, and you're burning all of these things and you inhaling them, you are putting yourself at risk, particularly if you have asthma, if you have a respiratory disease, you are actually potentiating having an attack. If you have allergies like sinusitis, rhinitis, which are inflammatory conditions of the nasal cavity, then that in itself predisposes you to more complications. So at the same time, too, you really want to avoid all of this burning. And so that's why we burn at the worst times. You find people burning in the evening, 6 o'clock, when families at home and resting. You find people, just burning indiscriminately. And so, I think people need to be more prudent. And if you're burning, you want to make sure that you have a hose with some, a tap close by that you can control, the length of combustion. But it's just the thing about bush burning also, it's temporary. It's not a consistent thing. Like if you have a habit of smoking, where it becomes a habit, it becomes, like a bad, like you're addicted to it. And so every day you have to smoke 5 or 6 cigars. It's different.
Or
so it's
2-3 boxes.
Or 2-3 boxes, but in terms of other respiratory complications or conditions, then burning of bush and so forth might actually potentiate more.
But not only just burning of bush, some people tend to burn their old furniture, burn old pieces of wood. And these pieces of wood are made up of different chemicals, formaldehyde, different wood chips, different things. And so when you burn in these things, those fumes are now kind of airlifted, and you can never tell how it will affect you. I mean, recently there was some garbage burning in my area, and I happened to walk around it, and that night the glands in my throat was swollen.
Yes.
And so that's a direct reaction to just the inhalation of that little bit of smoke.
Yes.
So it does affect the body.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, again, some of us have a habit of burning welding rods. On the smoke, we have to burn rods to do work, and the smoke is straight up in our face. What is the risk associated with that?
What's that? What were you saying? What?
Welding rods.
Okay. Well, those are occupational health hazards, and yes, it's true, and that's why there is this whole talk about occupational health and safety, whereby there, precautions need to be taken, the right gears. Do you have respirators when you burn? Do you have for the eyes, to protect your eyes against the welding, the sparks, so you want to, and I know many times rooms are closed. People do those things in closed rooms. That in itself, like everything else, there are risks, because they release chemicals and they get into your body. And so it's always important to have a checkup at least twice a year. You may have to do a long x-ray from time to time just to make sure that your lungs are cleared and you don't have any respiratory obstructions or anything happening there. So I think what is best is to make sure that you have good ventilation. The room that you're using is oxygenated. You have good, breathing space. Even people mixing chemicals to spray the bathroom.
Right.
People might use bleach and ammonia, and they go and mix the two, and then you just find a whole place that your eyes start burning you, and you start to
nose
cough.
is running.
Because it's chemistry. It's chemicals.
Right.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
And everyone, how are you?
We're doing good.
Okay, very interesting program.
Thank you.
And I'm listening. I want to ask a question, because you're a pharmacist, so I guess you should have an idea what I'm speaking about. Do you know what is polyps?
Polyps? Yes.
Could you explain? I know, so can you explain to the public, because they find here in Barbados that a lot of people have that problem, and they don't know, and to me, I feel that people should be educated that after 40 you should always go and check your health in many ways, like breast, prostate, the same bear animal, and those kind of examinations, because we're going along and these things manifesting in our bodies, and sometimes when you find out, it's too late. So can you explain to the public for me, please?
Okay. Well, that in itself is a gastroenterologist that's normally within the area. You find it's really growing the rectum, where people have abnormal growths, and that in itself is sometimes it's very much similar to that of a hemorrhoid, but it is different. It could cause bleeding on if it's ruptured. Sometimes people force to pass stool, and it could cause a rupture and cause extensive bleeding. Usually what they have said that may contribute it, high fat diets, lack of exercise, obesity, all these increases your chances to develop that condition. Even not having a proper bowel movement. Some people procrastinate a lot. They don't feel like they want to go off at that particular time. But it's really a gastroenterologist within that specialty, and so they would normally be able to explain better than I do as a pharmacist. But the basics that we know is that that in itself is caused by a high fat diet. One of the main reasons for it: high fat diets, obesity, lack of mobility. People who do not move a lot, because people who do not move a lot as well, they normally have a greater chance of developing constipation as a complication. To compare to someone who is always active, you will have a better bowel movement. So it's very important as well to also, once you're above 40, have a colonoscopy done to make sure that everything is going on well there. I know that many people have fear those procedures, but when the worst comes on the scene, they wish they had done those types of procedures just to make sure that everything is clear.
But even in your 30s, if you're experiencing discomfort, constipation regularly, you would need to definitely bring that to your doctor and perhaps do a barium enema or it's necessary, because you don't want to take chances. I mean, so many things are being manifested into our systems. But one of the things that I wanted to highlight from one of our guests over the past few weeks was that if you have a carrot and you eat this carrot, the body is aware that it's a carrot. But when the carrot is growing, sometimes there are pesticides, there are weedicides being sprayed around this carrot, and here it is, the body now is ingesting those things. Yes. The body does not know what these things are, so it knows what the carrot is, so it will go ahead and try to digest the carrot. It will say, I know the carrot, but then these other things, it's left fighting it, it's left wondering what it is. And these are the things that cause stress internally on our systems and our bodies. And we have to be very, very, very careful with what it is that we're putting in our systems. And you find that even in the Ministry of Health, the Prime Minister oftentimes will talk about planting your own stuff, growing food in your own garden, harvesting your own, whether it's a citrus fruit or your lettuce. It's important to sometimes do those things so you know what goes into your food. This is I mean, Sister Nats was the person who explained that, but it blew my mind so much that I had to go home and do some further research. You know what I'm like, Carlton. But it was so important to receive that kind of explanation and to see how it is so many times that some things go wrong in our bodies, and we're thinking, but where would this come from? How did this happen? It's in the foods that we eat.
Yes, and one of the main culprits, inflammation. Yes, good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
It's all about health that you are discussing today.
Yes,
I called a while ago.
Yes.
And I would like to ask a very important question.
Yes, sir.
That is, it has been a long time farmers using Gramaxone, agrochemicals, and sometimes people don't want to weed their grass. They say too much work to do, bending down and weed. And they go ahead and use Gramaxone, spray their crop, the grass between their crops. Is that safe? Can you explain, can you tell me exactly if that is safe for farmers to do?
Okay.
All right.
I know that the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture have been sensitizing farmers on maybe reducing the use of these chemicals on their farms, as not merely is it only going to impact the plants that is their livelihood, but also their bodies as well. And so more and more, as we when we use those chemicals, many farmers do not necessarily adhere to the occupational safety and standards that are often told to do. And so you find someone, using Gramaxone, that tank on the back, and they may have a long sleeve and a long pant without no respirator, nothing. And they just, spraying, no gloves on, and just spraying. But you are really inhaling the inert active ingredients in this chemical. And that in itself gets into your body, increases your chances of developing a respiratory disease, even affecting your kidney, and your bladder. There is someone that I know who has a chronic kidney failure, and that person told me that they're convinced that they got it from using chemicals as a farmer. And so more and more we are advocating that people really reduce the usage of those types of chemicals.
But just to piggyback off of what you said, even with these kinds of chemicals, it does have an impact on the soil,
yes,
on the land itself. So while it's affecting us, it has affected our land, and
the quality. It will impact the quality of produce that comes out from that soil.
That's right. So, Carlton, recently I found this quote, and I posted it to my Instagram page because it was very, very. It spoke volumes to me. The word inflammation, and you brought it up just a while ago. And so basically, it has an image of a body, and it shows your digestive system, and it says, in quotes, "If you don't recognize an ingredient, your body won't either," from inflammation. And so these are the things that cause inflammation. And I mean, just seeing it just opens your eyes. And so this goes back to what we were just talking about.
Because the medicine is now showing the core of almost every disease begins with inflammation. And I think that's what has made omega-3 so popular over the years. And they've been hearing so much talk about omega-3 because of its anti-inflammatory natural properties and how it's been helping so many diseases, whether it's gastrointestinal, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's skeletal muscular. It's been helping so many people. I mean, you've had people like Larry King and so many other big celebrities endorse that product because of how good. Even a neighbor of mine was telling me how amazing this product has been for her. And it comes back to the key word there, inflammation. So if we can reduce inflammation, and one of the foods that really causes a lot of inflammation, sugar, salts, and fats and oils. They cause a lot of inflammation, and that's what most of us seem to like a lot when we eat. The things that we eat a lot. We like these things. So we really want to, encourage you to make wiser choices in terms of what you consume, the frequency of what you consume, the quality of what you consume, and the portions of what you consume as well. Because it's one thing to say, well, I like rice, and you made fried rice on Monday, you big paella on Tuesday, you do rice pie on it's rice. The core of it is rice. It's just different preparations.
Right.
But you're still eating a lot of rice, which is carbohydrates, which converts to sugar. So you find people saying, they're telling the doctor, "Doc, but what pack up where I don't taking sugar." But the sugar level keeps going on because the carbohydrates are very high.
And this goes back to what Dr. Lisa Jolly had spoken to us about. A lot of the white foods are refined foods, and they create a lot of
inflammation.
Yeah. So we really need to take heed to this. So
we'll take a break.
Yeah, we can take a break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
At Jolly's Pharmacy, your health and wellness is our passion. No wonder Jolly's Pharmacy provides the widest variety of the highest quality vitamin supplements and remedies for your lifestyle activity and nutritional needs. Take care of your body. Get the multivitamins advantage supply to enhance, promote, improve, repair, and revitalize your body. Jolly's for the complete line of preventative and curative health supplies and tonics. Rejuvenate with men's and women's one-a-day tablets. Boost concentration. Tricentrum Silver and omega-3s to build your immune and nervous system functions, strengthen your cardiovascular system, boost bone health. For stamina, get all your natural balanced megavites herbal supplements, men's daily formula for sexual energy and function, soap palmetto plus supplements to soothe joint pain. Feel like a dynamo, get up and go, catch back your mojo at Jolly's, Dominica's principal healthcare pharmacy. Why? Because you deserve more from a drugstore.
You're listening to Health Vibes.
So you could introduce.
So, Carlton, while you were away, I spoke about the awards that Jolly's Pharmacy received and the award that you received. And tell us about that and that experience, because we did send out, how proud we were of you, greetings and just congratulatory remarks. And I've also seen a few articles in the news. And so this is actually a great feat for you and for Jolly's Pharmacy here in Dominica. And we're so proud to have Jolly's here. But how was that experience?
Pearl, it was very rewarding for me. I've been a pharmacist for 21 years now, and I think it was I really felt recognized by my peers, merely because it was a Caribbean regional award. So it was pharmacists from all over the Caribbean who recognize our work. Just last year, if you can recall, Jolly's Pharmacy won the second best pharmacist in the Caribbean pharmacy in the Caribbean region. And this year again, two of us from Jolly's were recognized within the Caribbean. Orin Jolly, one of our pharmacists and manager at Jolly's Pharmacy, received the Pharmacist of the Year Award for 2016. And again, that definitely shows, it says a lot. One, I know Orin has worked extensively in terms of continuous education in the field of pharmacy practice. He's also done a lot of work in terms behind the scene work in terms of our health promotion and education program that we do at Jolly's. I'm the person that you hear about, but he has done a lot of ingenuating work towards the module of health education and promotion as it's in terms of Jolly's component, Jolly's spearheading of what we do every day. The talk show, the health clinics from the country, the corporate clinic where we go to companies and we screen staff, giving awareness to healthier lifestyle practices. That in itself gave us, the edge over many of our peers within the Caribbean. The two awards were awards that were extraordinary in terms that you have to be an extraordinary pharmacist. It's not merely just about dispensing medication like all pharmacists do, but a matter of how does your practice impact your community in such a way that it spreads advocacy that would promote health, education, and better lifestyle practices among our populace. And so the awards were very well received by both of us. I can speak for Orin as well. But even more so, Pearl, what was more rewarding for me, being selected to be on the executive of that organization. The organization is based in Jamaica, and it's pharmacists from as far as the Cayman Islands all the way to Belize.
Wow.
So it's, I think Martinique and Guadeloupe are not part of it because they're from French. They're from the French, right. But every other island is part of it, including Curacao and Aruba. They are also part of the Caribbean Association of Pharmacists. and a new executive was elected, and I was also selected to be part of that executive. I was the only person from the OECS that was selected. So it's not only a voice for the Caribbean, but it's also a voice for the OECS islands in terms of pharmacy practice, the way forward. I was sharing with people, some amazing pharmacists that I've seen over the years going to conferences, who have specialized. There is this pharmacist. Actually, we're trying to see how we can get her to be on this program because she's done further studies in Alzheimer's disease, and she's now training people throughout the Cayman Islands on understanding the Alzheimer's patients. Because you may say, well, my mother is so wicked, she's not eating the food that I've prepared for her. But her brain is telling her mouth cannot open. And that's how, so if we understand the disease, we'll understand how to take care of this patient better. Right. We've had pharmacists who've gone into sports medicine, pharmacists who's gone into nutrition, pharmacists who's gone into public health, pharmacists who's gone into toxicology, understanding poisons. And so what we've seen is that pharmacists is diversified.
That's right.
And it's no longer just a white coat and just give. We find pharmacists who's getting into pediatric understanding medications as it relates to children. And so they work with pediatricians and give better information to them and advice to them as to the right dosage and so forth. And so as the practice of pharmacy evolves and gets broader, you would recognize that pharmacists is playing a bigger role in the whole sphere of health education and promotion. That is what actually the association is promoting, that pharmacists now get involved. Group up with other pharmacists. Go to your famous bus stop, whatever country you're from, and do blood pressure screenings to bus drivers. Go to schools, talk to school children, work with sports clubs, so trying to really get pharmacists more integrated in the society to have a larger stake in terms of what health education, because we cannot rely on our governments alone to advocate good health practices. So all healthcare professionals have a role to play in ensuring that all of the high statistics of the chronic diseases that we're seeing, the non-communicable diseases that we're seeing, those can be avoided, those can be reduced if all of us partner together and play our parts. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you.
What are the products one can find omega-3 in? That is one. And the second one is there's other concerns from the Ministry of Health, even the Prime Minister, talking about unhealthy drinks and food that the population is consuming. But my concern is, if there's so much of a big concern, why they wouldn't remove the VAT and the taxes on those products so that the population could get them cheaper to buy?
That's a good question.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm listening.
Yes, I remember that same meeting we had of the Health Promotion Unit and Ministry of Health a few weeks ago. That was one of the areas that came up in the discussion. Consumerization of products. It has a lot to do with legislation. And yes, it's true that people may say, well, but some of our governments are double standard. They're talking about all of these fast foods, yet they're giving them license to come in. But at the end of the day, governments have an economy to run, and they want to make it sure that every other person has a job. And so the politicians will be the politicians, and they'll think along that line. I think what is important is that to teach our people about choices, that we have a choice whether we want to patronize certain establishments or not. We want to expose our children to these or not. So the choices are open. It's a democratic country. But I know that there have been some talks about, people have been saying, well, yes, it's true that we're talking about taxation on foods. Why not reduce taxes on the healthier foods that would make people really gravitate to purchasing them? That again is a policy that government would have to really do some serious collaboration and dialogue with NGOs and other community and the general community to make those decisions. I mean, I would love that decision to be made. I mean, there are some countries in the world where fast foods are just banned. They do not have no fast foods at all, and so at the end of the day, it's a give and take, and it's a lot to do with policies, regulations, and governance and legislation and all of these things. In terms of your second question, where you ask about the omega-3s are independent. You will find them. You could get omega-3 or you could get omega-3 6-9. Those are available at our pharmacies. You can actually come in. You can ask us about them. They're available. You have different brands. So once you remember the word omega, you just come in and we would be able to give you further information as it relates to the benefits of using omega.
But in terms of what foods, sardines, fish,
right? Yes,
those are good sources.
You'll find it in
omega-3s.
Right. The fatty acid foods. So you find it in a lot of fish products, as you said, salmon, sardines. You find it in a lot of these.
That's right. That's right.
So pharmacy. I mean, the just being on the executive, it's really going to mean a lot to me. Even in Dominica, we're really trying to revamp our local pharmacy association to really get pharmacists and pharmacy technicians together to really, do more. It's not. It's when we talk about pharmacists, it's not just a Jolly's pharmacist. It's not just pharmacists alone that should be involved. It should be all pharmacists in Dominica. Whether you work for the government, whether you work for another private pharmacy, we want you to be involved. You can do things within your pharmacy. You can do things within the government system. Government pharmacists can come together on a Saturday and decide they're going to embark on a project and do something. You understand? So we don't want it to be a Jolly's, it's just a Jolly's thing. We want it to be an everybody's thing. Once you are within you are in the profession, we want you to be thinking about ways that you can really help things. We need people to work with geriatrics. We would love pharmacists to maybe give some time at the infirmary, for example, and work with geriatric care. Letting the elderly understand why they need to be taking their medication, giving the nurses there some guidance and help in terms of the medication that they give to clients. We need pharmacists in schools. We need pharmacists in sports arenas, sports clubs, to give advice and so forth. So pharmacists can definitely give much more. There is so much information that we have and we can give and we can disseminate within the churches. So many people. I was at Pastor Randy's church maybe about a month ago, and I mean, they were so excited. They've asked me to come back again and give another talk there. Because people are hungry for information. People want to ask certain questions. People want, maybe there are certain things going on in their body that's very private. They may not maybe they don't know who to talk to, and they feel that they can talk to you and ask you a private question or a personal question and expect a rational response. And so that is what we do. And I think the way forward is a very promising one in terms of the Caribbean Association of Pharmacists. I think many pharmacists within the Caribbean body are very passionate, very excited about the way forward. I think even in Dominica, we have some very good pharmacists who have really given a lot in the profession to Dominica and to the communities that they serve. And so we don't want in no way to not recognize the great work that our pharmacists are doing every day, ensuring that our people adhere to the medications, ensuring that our people take better care of themselves, ensuring that our people adhere to recommendations from their doctors, and also ensuring that our people inculcate better and more better lifestyle choices that would definitely enhance their life expectancy.
And I think I can speak for all Dominicans when I say that we're very proud to have you guys here, championing the cause for all of us for better health.
Right. And Pearl, I'm telling you, it's not about money. I think there are many other professions that make much more money than pharmacists do. It's not that we're broke, but we don't make, tens and tens of thousands of dollars. It's a love of profession. It's a love of, it's a calling. And I think that's the word there. It's a calling that you are called, like you were selected by God to be in that. Mrs. Dover likes to say that God gave her, God selected her to put her in that profession.
Course, absolutely.
And it's an amazing thing when you met somebody who was really, really in distress, and they come back 5 days, a week after, and they have a huge smile on their face, and they tell you, "Thank you. The pain is gone. I am much better. I'm cured." And you feel good. You feel that you're worthy. You feel that your legacy is being made, that you're leaving something behind that somebody can really concretely talk about and say that you did,
Okay. Well, we have come to the end of our Health Vibes show today. And Carlton, thank you for sharing that. That was such a great feat for Jolly's Pharmacy and Dominica, and to be selected to be part of the executive, the only person in the entire OECS, is tremendous. Okay, so
thank you.
We are happy to have you here, and we just want to say thank you to our listeners for checking in with us and sharing your thoughts, your questions, your concerns. I'm Pearl Fontaine Butler.
I'm Carlton Lando. Go out and do something really positive. Bye-bye. Till next week.
You were listening to Health Vibes, a production of Jolly's Pharmacy Limited.